Have you ever asked yourself why ordinary people work harder than ever, but still can't get ahead? Why your money buys less every year, even when you save? Maybe it's because the game was written 300 years ago, and it was never meant for you to win. When money was born, it was backed by gold, real, solid value. But then the rules changed. Governments realized they could print more paper than gold they had. One man tried it first, John Law, and it collapsed France's entire economy. Yet instead of learning from it, the world copied it. Today, your money isn't backed by anything real. It's just trust, and inflation keeps eating it alive. So here's the question no one dares to ask. Do you still trust the money in your hand? Or is it all just numbers in someone else's game? Have you ever wondered why, no matter how hard people work, money just seems to slip away? Why prices rise, wages fall behind, and the dream of security keeps moving further out of reach? We're told it's just the economy, that it's always been this way. But what if the truth is, the rules of money were written 300 years ago, and they were never made for you? Back in 1694, something extraordinary happened. The world's first modern central bank was born, the Bank of England. Its job wasn't to help the people, it was to fund a war. The government needed gold, so the bank printed paper, promises that said, "This note is worth gold." And people believed it. That belief built an empire. But here's where it gets dark. Soon, governments realized they could print more paper than gold they actually had. And one man, a Scottish gambler named John Law, decided to push the idea to its limit. He convinced France to replace gold with paper. For a moment it worked. The country boomed. Then the illusion collapsed, and the entire French economy went down with it. That disaster should have been the end of paper money. Instead, it became the blueprint. Every central bank that came after learned one lesson. If people believe the paper is worth something, you don't need the gold. That's when money stopped being real and started being a story we all agreed to believe. But here's the question no one asks. If trust is all that holds the system together, what happens when that trust runs out? Tell me in the comments. Do you still trust the money in your hand? 1971, the world changed forever, and most people didn't even notice. One decision, made behind closed doors, ended the last link between money and something real. For centuries, every dollar, pound, or franc was backed by gold, a promise that you could trade your paper for the metal that gave it value. It was a system built on discipline. Governments couldn't print what they didn't have. But after decades of war, debt, and political pressure, that discipline broke. The United States, the world's economic anchor, was drowning in bills it couldn't pay, spending more than it earned, printing more than it should. And one summer night, President Richard Nixon made an announcement that would quietly rewrite history. I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold. Temporarily. That one word turned out to be a lie that's lasted more than 50 years. The gold standard was dead, and for the first time in modern history, money no longer had any physical anchor. It became what governments said it was, and worth whatever people believed. Prices began to rise, wages struggled to keep up, and every generation since has paid the price for that moment. The slow, invisible theft of purchasing power. We call it inflation, but maybe it's something else. Maybe it's the cost of believing in a promise that was broken decades ago. So ask yourself, if money isn't backed by gold anymore, what gives it value? And if trust alone keeps it alive, who controls that trust? After 1971, something strange happened. The world didn't collapse. In fact, at first, it looked like things were better. More credit, more growth, more prosperity. But behind the headlines, something had changed forever. The rules of value had been rewritten. Money was no longer tied to gold. It was tied to debt. The moment Nixon cut the link, governments realized they could print their way out of any problem. Central banks could create money from thin air. And every time they did, the value of the money already in your pocket quietly shrank. They called it stimulus. They called it monetary policy. But what it really meant was this. The more they print, the poorer you become. Your savings lose value while assets, stocks, property, the things the wealthy own, rise in price. That's not an accident. That's the system working exactly as designed. Inflation isn't a glitch, it's a feature. A silent tax that moves wealth upward, inch by inch, decade after decade. The money supply grows, but your paycheck never quite keeps up. And every time prices rise, they tell you it's temporary. They said it in the 1970s. They said it in 2008. They said it again in 2020. But here's the truth no one dares to say. Inflation is the illusion that keeps the game alive, a way to make people believe they're earning more, when in reality, they're falling behind. So ask yourself, if money keeps losing value, what's it really worth? And if value itself is an illusion, who's writing that illusion into existence? When gold died, money didn't just disappear, it evolved. For thousands of years, value was measured in things we could touch: coins, metals, paper, weight. But today, value lives inside screens. Digital numbers moving faster than the human eye, controlled by systems you'll never see. In the old world, power meant gold locked in a vault. In the new world, power means data locked in servers. And the new money masters aren't kings or bankers, they're algorithms. Every transaction you make, from your paycheck to your morning coffee, passes through invisible hands: banks, networks, payment processors. Each one tracking, recording, learning what you buy, when you buy, and how much they can charge next time. It started with credit cards, then online banking. Now, it's digital currency. Governments call it the future of money. They say it's safer, faster, more efficient. But ask yourself, safer for who? A central bank digital currency isn't like cash. You can't hide it, you can't withdraw it. You can't keep it under your mattress. It exists only with permission, and permission can be revoked. If every dollar, pound, or euro becomes programmable, what happens when someone decides where, when, or if you can spend it? The new money isn't about gold or even paper, it's about control. So the question is no longer, what is money worth? It's, who controls what your money can do? We began this story with gold. Something real, something you could hold. Then came paper, promises printed by governments. And now, code, numbers flickering in a digital void. 3 centuries of evolution, and yet one question remains. Was money ever real? For most people, money isn't power anymore, it's pressure. It's debt, it's fear, it's survival. A tool once meant to measure value has become a weapon that controls it. Every paycheck disappears faster, every bill grows larger, and every promise from those in charge sounds more hollow than the last. They tell us to trust, the same word they've used since 1694. Trust the banks, trust the system. Trust the digital future, but trust is a fragile currency. Once it's broken, nothing holds the illusion together. Now, a new generation is asking a dangerous question. What if we don't trust anymore? What if we take money back to something real? Whether that's gold, Bitcoin, or something entirely new. Because maybe the truth isn't that money died. Maybe it's that the meaning of value was stolen, repackaged, resold, and renamed progress. So, here we are, 300 years later, standing at the edge of another revolution. The next system is being built right now. Digital, global, and programmable. But who will it serve, you? Or the same few who wrote the rules centuries ago? Comment below. What would real money look like to you? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.